The fake son of our family said I stole his watch, cause my sister became furious at me. She immediately took me to court and went as far to hire the best lawyer to defend the guy. In the end, I was sentenced to 3 years for theft. Before I went in, the lawyer advised my sister, "You just need to scare him a little. If he really goes to jail, your brother's life will be ruined, you know?" However, my sister calmly said, "Stealing is not a small matter. He must learn his lesson. As for his future, I'll take responsibility for that." 3 years later, when I was finally released, my sister approached with red eyes and reached out her hand to me. "Now you understand your mistake, right? Come, let's go home." But I stepped away from her without showing much reaction and ignored her welcoming hand. Inside the prison, I had met a new sister, and my new sister said she believed my story. My sister, Renata, was shocked that I avoided her completely. She didn't withdraw her hand, but reached out again instead, quickly and firmly pulling me toward her. "Rain, why are you avoiding me? Did someone bully you in the prison?" Her voice was rough, as if something was stuck in her throat. I tried several times to pull my hand away, but failed, so I answered lightly, "No." She let out a breath of relief and held on tighter. "That's good. I read online that prison is a terrible place, as long as no one hurt you." Then, looking at her relieved face and her reddening eyes, I laughed bitterly in silence. "Weren't you the one who tried every possible way to send me into jail? Why care now? What's the point?" Renata forced a smile and pulled me toward the car, all the while trying to please me. "You always liked lively occasions, right? I prepared a welcome back dinner for you. Come, let's go home." I turned back to look at the prison one last time before leaving. While I was jailed, I met a new sister. Her name was Rosetta Schuyler. She had been falsely accused of financial fraud and still had 1 month left before release. We already agreed that I would pick her up then and we'd live together. As I was thinking of my late father's belongings at home, I finally settled into my sister's car. On our way home, Renata touched my newly shaved hair and spoke like she was warning me. "Rain, you must never steal again. Let this be your first and last lesson." I clenched my fingers at that. I asked the guards many times to send her messages. I tried telling her that I never stole Leon Hart's things. That fake son framed me. Sadly, my own sister, Renata, never believed me. I didn't even bother to explain and simply nodded obediently. "I know," I said, agreeing. My sister smiled with satisfaction and drove me home. Soon as the door opened, colorful ribbons exploded into the air. The fake son, Leon Hart, whom I hadn't seen for 3 years, held a party popper and smiled brightly. "Brother, welcome home." He acted perfectly, as if overflowing with affection. It wasn't like the jealous face he had when he accused me of stealing. I ignored him, brushing past his shoulder. As I walked further inside home, Leon Hart's smile stiffened, and he looked at my sister awkwardly for help. "Why isn't he talking to me? Is he still mad at me?" My sister patted his head lovingly. "Ryan just got out, Leon. He's just not used to this yet. It's not your fault." I was already in my room, pulling open the drawer under the bed. Seeing my father's old photos and his ring still there, I finally relaxed. My sister stood at the door and called softly, "Rain, come eat with us." Congratulations on getting out of prison. I didn't take it. I just kept eating. But Leon Hart didn't seem to mind and opened the box with a smile. Inside was a very expensive watch. I only looked at it for 1 second. My pupils tightened and my whole body felt cold, as if I had fallen into an Arctic ice sea. Leon Hart pushed the watch toward me. His expression slowly twisted, becoming frightening. "What's wrong, brother? Don't you like this watch the most? You liked it so much you even stole it. Now I'm giving it to you. Aren't you happy?" That watch was the gift my sister gave to Leon Hart, and it was the reason I was sent to prison for 3 years. After our father died on the battlefield, Mother took the compensation money and ran away. My sister and I depended only on each other. She dropped out of high school and took many wrong paths before she finally succeeded in starting a business. When she earned money, she adopted Leon Hart, who also lost his father, and brought him home. In the beginning, I disagreed, but my sister told me, "Leon is in a poor state like us. You still have me, but he has no one. Be generous, Rain. It's just an extra bowl at the table." Despite her words, she treated him better than me. It was like she wanted to raise a little brother all over again. Everything she didn't have time to give me, she gave to him. Toys, watches, luxury things. Whatever Leon Hart wanted, she bought it. In only 2 years, she spent tens of millions. Was the money she earned by working herself to exhaustion. Many nights, she had to go to business dinners, drinking until she threw up, then continuing to drink again. I felt sorry for Renata, really. I always told her to stop spending so much. But Leon Hart hated me for that. That's when he hid the watch under my pillow, then cried to my sister and said I stole it. My sister became furious and punished me by making me kneel in the rain. Admit my mistake. Our dad would be ashamed to have a son like you. He lived as an honorable soldier, and I have always lived honestly. Why are you acting like our mother, Rain? She stole and ran away with our family's money. Have I ever let you go hungry? Have I ever not given you clothes? Why would you steal? I got a high fever. I cried all night and said I didn't steal it, but she didn't believe me. The next day, my sister hired the best lawyer and took me to court. Renata was my biological sister, but in court she stood on Leon Hart's side, speaking for him as his witness. In the end, I was sentenced to 3 years under the law. I became a thief before I entered prison. Our relatives and even the lawyer told my sister not to push the case that far. No matter what, I was her real brother. If I went to jail for 3 years, my life would be ruined. Yet my sister insisted she didn't care if people distanced themselves from her. She still sent me to prison. Rain won't be ruined by this. I work hard so I can support him. Even if his life is ruined, I can take care of him forever. But he stole something. He must learn a lesson. During the 3 years, Renata visited me every month, always asking if I understood my mistake. I never met her. I only asked the guard to deliver a message to her. I never stole anything. Your sister doesn't believe you, said the prison guard. Each time my sister left, the disappointment again and again slowly turned into despair. I felt like the whole world had abandoned me. My sister used to love me. Now even she was gone. When I saw that watch again, I broke down. I flipped the box over. The watch fell to the floor with a loud bang. Leon Hart froze in shock. My sister's face turned dark. Leon gave you a gift out of kindness. He doesn't even blame you anymore. Why are you doing that? I sat in the chair, shaking all over, my face completely pale. Renata then pulled me up. You think just because you came out of prison, you can throw a tantrum? Pick up the watch and apologize to Leon? Apologize? Why would I? I shoved my sister hard and ran out the house. Outside, the cold wind cut into my skin. Hurt and anger twisted my heart tightly. I didn't want to go home at all. If it weren't for forgetting my father's belongings, I wouldn't have come back. I never wanted to be wrongly accused again. Never wanted to suffer anything like that again. My sister soon caught up and grabbed my wrist. Her brows were tightly drawn as she scolded me. Where are you going? 3 years in prison, and your temper still hasn't changed? I couldn't hold it in anymore. I yanked my hand away, my eyes red. Was he giving me that watch out of kindness or malice? Renata, can't you really see it? I'm your real brother. You already sent me to prison once. What more do you want? It was for your own good. Her voice turned cold. If you dare to steal, you must be punished. If not, you'll never learn. To fix that bad habit, should I just watch you make mistakes and let you walk down the wrong path? Her words hit my heart like a hammer. Since I was young, when had I ever stolen anything? Why would I steal Leon Hart's watch? Why couldn't she think more carefully about this? Why wouldn't she believe me? Tears fell. 3 years of pain and hopelessness washed over me again. I gave a try to explain once more. Looking at my buzz-cut hair, she finally softened her tone like she was admitting defeat. Rain, everything I do is for you. Yes, you were in prison for 3 years, but I already prepared a future for you. My company will be yours one day. I only wanted to give you a small punishment. It doesn't really hurt anything, so come home with me. Don't run around anymore. She took my hand and pulled me back toward the house. I followed her with a numb feeling, and I kept silent along the road. When we opened the door, Leon Hart looked surprised to see her bring me back. Didn't expect that after everything. She still wanted me home. I felt exhausted. I went straight to my room and didn't come out. Late at night, Leon Hart quietly came into my room. I opened my eyes instantly, but he thought I was still asleep. He touched my pillow, lifted it, and hid something underneath. I didn't move or take it out. He couldn't wait. I just returned, and he was already using the same trick. I wanted to see whether my sister would believe me this time. The next morning, just as expected, he cried to my sister and said I stole his watch again. Brother, if you like something, you can just tell me. I even gave you the watch yesterday, but you didn't want it. Do you always have to steal? My sister's face instantly got dark upon hearing that. So you really can't change, huh? My heart instantly dropped into the deepest dark. My sister's sharp accusation had cut the very last bit of our family ties between us. I pulled the corner of my mouth in a bitter smile. Yeah, I can't change. Slap. Before I finished speaking, my sister raised her hand and gave me a hard slap. Her eyes were full of anger and disappointment. Why? Why did I even have a brother like you? She shouted. I stayed silent for a moment. Then I covered my face and laughed coldly. I don't understand why I have a sister like you, too. You. Her hand was shaking as she pointed at me. She was too angry to talk. Before she could hit me again, I dropped to my knees and bowed before her. Thank you for dropping out of school to take care of me. From now on, you won't have me as your brother. Then I stood up, pulled out Dad's old things from under the bed, and walked out of the house. Suddenly, she grabbed the photo and the ring from my hand with a cold expression. These belong to Dad. You have no right to take them. Fine, I nodded in resignation and got ready to continue walking away. Behind me, she shouted in a low, trembling voice, You're a criminal. Without me, what can you even do? Starve on the streets? I didn't stop walking. No need to worry about me. After leaving home, I sat around the neighborhood all day. This time, my sister didn't come after me. It was clear that she must be completely disappointed, tired of me. I had no money, so I tried to find a job with food and a bed included. But once they heard the rumors I had been in prison, no company wanted me. In the end, I went to a construction site. The boss looked me up and down and frowned. You're so thin. Our work is pretty heavy. Can you even handle it? I smiled carefully. Let me try, sir. I may look thin, but I'm strong. The boss didn't believe me at first. After I started working quickly, he saw what I can do and finally agreed for me to stay. Food and bed included. 100 a day. But the project is short. Only 1 month, he said. I smiled. It was enough. 1 month later, Rosetta would get out of prison, and I would have somewhere to go. The construction site was brutal. By the end of the first day, my palms were covered in blisters, and my shoulders felt like they were splitting apart. But when the foreman handed me my dinner, I smiled. It was the first meal I'd earned with my own hands since leaving prison. Nobody at the site cared about my past. They only cared whether I could work. So I worked harder than anyone. Every morning, I woke before sunrise. Every evening, I dragged myself back to the tiny room behind the construction office and collapsed onto the mattress. Sometimes I stared at the ceiling and thought about Renata. I wondered if she had ever regretted sending me to prison. Then I remembered her words. You're a criminal. Without me, what can you even do? I laughed quietly. Apparently, I could do quite a lot. 3 weeks passed. Then, one afternoon, while I was carrying bricks, the foreman shouted my name. Rain, someone's looking for you. I wiped the sweat from my forehead and walked toward the entrance. A young woman stood outside the gate. She wore a simple white shirt, faded jeans, and carried a small suitcase. Her long black hair was tied loosely behind her head. The moment she saw me, her eyes turned red. Rain, I stopped. For 3 years, I had imagined this moment. Rosetta, she smiled. Then she dropped her suitcase and ran toward me. I barely had time to react before she hugged me tightly. You actually came. Her voice trembled. I promised you I would. Rosetta pulled away and looked at my thin face. You've lost so much weight. So have you. She laughed through her tears. I spent 3 years in prison too, remember? I looked at her carefully. She had changed, but the warmth in her eyes hadn't. Rosetta had been the only person inside those prison walls who believed me. When I told her I had never stolen that watch, she didn't question me. She simply said, I believe you. Those 4 words had kept me alive. After work, I packed my few belongings. The foreman tried to convince me to stay. You've only been here a month. I was going to make you permanent. I shook my head. Sorry, sir. I have somewhere else to go. Rosetta waited outside. We found a cheap apartment together. It was tiny, The kitchen barely had enough space for 2 people. The bedroom had an old mattress and a broken fan. But when I placed my father's photograph on the table, I felt strangely peaceful. Rosetta stood beside me. Your father? Yes. He must have been important to you. He was. I stared at the photograph. He's the reason I survived prison. Rosetta didn't ask more. She knew when to leave me alone. That night, we ate instant noodles sitting on the floor. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like I was someone's burden. I had nothing. Yet somehow, I felt richer than I had when I lived in Renata's house. The next morning, I started looking for permanent work. And then something unexpected happened. A small logistics company offered me a position. The owner was an elderly man named Mr. Vale. He looked through my application and paused when he saw my criminal record. You were convicted of theft? Yes. Did you do it? No. He studied me for several seconds. Then why didn't you fight it? I smiled bitterly. Because the person accusing me was my sister. Mr. Vale went silent. After a moment, he closed the file. Come back tomorrow. I thought he was rejecting me. Instead, he handed me a key. Warehouse assistant. Starting tomorrow. I stared at him. You'll give me a chance? He shrugged. I've made enough mistakes in my life to know that a court record doesn't tell me everything about a person. I bowed my head. Thank you. 2 months later, I received my first promotion. I was good with numbers and inventory management. So, Mr. Vale moved me into the office. For the first time, I started saving money. Rosetta also found work. Slowly, our little apartment became a home. Then, one evening, I received a phone call. It was from an unknown number. I almost ignored it. Is this Rain? Yes. My name is Adrian Vale. I froze. Mr. Vale's full name. He sounded unusually serious. I need you to come to the office tonight. Why? I found something. My heart tightened. What? There was a long pause. About the watch. My fingers went cold. I rushed to his office. Mr. Vale was sitting behind his desk with an old laptop in front of him. Beside it was a folder. He pushed it toward me. This came from an old client of mine. I opened it. Inside were several photographs. My face went pale. They showed Leon Hart entering a jewelry store 3 years earlier. I recognized the date immediately. It was the day before he accused me of stealing his watch. I flipped through the photographs. Then I saw something that made my breathing stop. Leon Hart was standing at the counter. The jeweler was handing him a second watch, the exact same model. Mr. Vale leaned back. That watch was purchased under Leon Hart's name. I stared at the receipt. Then I saw the purchase time. 10:47 p.m. My stomach twisted. The watch Leon Hart claimed I stole had supposedly been in his possession for days. But the receipt proved he had purchased another identical watch the night before my arrest. Why are you showing me this? Mr. Vale's expression became grim. Because there's more. He opened the final page. A security camera still. Leon Hart was leaving the store. And beside him was someone I never expected to see. My sister, Renata. I stared at the photograph. My hands began shaking. She hadn't just defended Leon Hart. She had been with him the night before he framed me. Mr. Vale lowered his voice. Rain, I don't know what happened 3 years ago. But I think you were convicted because someone wanted you to be. I slowly closed the folder. For 3 years, I had believed my sister simply didn't trust me. Maybe I'd been wrong. Maybe she knew exactly what she was doing. And if that was true, then I wasn't going back to Renata's house. I was going back for the truth. The next morning, I didn't sleep. I spread every piece of evidence across the table. The watch receipt, the jewelry store photographs, the security footage showing Renata with Leon Hart. Everything pointed to one terrifying possibility. They had planned it. Rosetta stared at the evidence. Rain, if your sister helped him frame you, why would she send you to prison for 3 years? I don't know. My jaw tightened. But I'm going to find out. We contacted the jeweler. He remembered Leon Hart immediately. He came in with a woman. They bought the watch together. Did you know why? The jeweler shook his head. No, but I remember something strange. What? Leon Hart asked whether the watch had a serial number. My blood ran cold. The watch wasn't simply meant to frame me. They had planned the entire thing. We obtained the store's archive footage and gave everything to a lawyer. This time, I chose my own. Within a week, the lawyer discovered something even worse. The original police evidence report had been altered. The timestamp on the watch photograph had been changed. Someone had deliberately made it appear that the watch was discovered under my pillow after Leon Hart reported it missing. The original file proved otherwise. The watch had been photographed in Leon Hart's bedroom before the police ever searched mine. My heart pounded. Can we reopen the case? My lawyer smiled. We can do much more than that. 3 days later, the news broke. Man wrongfully imprisoned for 3 years after family fraud scheme exposed. My name was everywhere. Then the police arrested Leon Hart. Renata came running to my apartment that same evening. The moment she saw me, tears filled her eyes. Rain, please listen to me. I stood behind the door. She looked exhausted. I didn't know. I laughed. You were standing beside him when he bought the watch. Her face went pale. I thought Leon Hart was telling the truth. You testified against me. I was protecting him. And who was protecting me? She couldn't answer. I stepped outside. You told me I was a criminal. Her tears fell. I was wrong. Yes. I looked directly into her eyes. You were. Renata grabbed my sleeve. Come home. I'll fix everything. I'll give you the company. I'll give you whatever you want. I gently removed her hand. I don't want your company. Then what do you want? I looked toward Rosetta, who was waiting behind me. A family that believes me. Renata broke down. But I walked away. Leon Hart eventually confessed after the evidence became overwhelming. He had hated me because he believed Renata loved me more. So he created the theft accusation to make her choose him. He never expected Renata to take it so far. But when she hired the lawyer and insisted I be imprisoned, he realized he had won. Until I came home. Until he tried the same trick again. That second accusation destroyed everything. Leon Hart was sentenced for fraud, evidence tampering, and falsely accusing me. Renata wasn't imprisoned, but she lost her company after the scandal destroyed her reputation. Months later, she came to my workplace. She stood outside the building holding my father's ring. I was wrong to take this from you. She placed it in my hand. I should have believed my own brother. I closed my fingers around it. Yes, she cried. I miss you. I looked at her for a long moment. I miss the sister I thought you were. Then I walked inside. Rosetta was waiting at the elevator. She smiled. Ready? I nodded. Yeah. For 3 years, I had been called a thief. For 3 years, everyone believed I was guilty. But I had finally cleared my name. And more importantly, I had found someone who believed me when everyone else turned away. Rosetta slipped her hand into mine. Let's go home. This time I smiled. Because I finally knew what home felt like.